Is a Yeti Nano? Yes. Hello, welcome. We're live now, streaming live from Aini Living Conversations channel. This is the 204th conversation that we have together, me, Julian Katari, and Blue Heron Woman here with you. And today we're talking about the rite of sex. First time when you told me the title, I thought of the rite, Right. It's like the right. Well, yeah, we should have it, but it's much better with the rite,
Yeah,
the ritual,
R-I-T-E.
the
Your
ritual
ritual.
of
Yeah.
sex. So we're gonna
Yeah.
talk, I guess, about sacred sexuality, how sexuality is intimately tied to the process of our consciousness, the process of to how we relate as human beings, something that we cannot overlook and that needs to be discussed, needs to be shared, it needs to be
Yeah.
analyzed and explored and investigated in this Owl Investigations, the Owl Council House, where we get all these different matters. So welcome everyone to the rite of sex. So what's the rite of sex?
Well, it's right now in our culture, it's a rite of coming into manhood or a rite of coming into womanhood, but it needs to be
Okay,
a
so that's what you mean. Okay. So that, yeah, and we talked about on the last lesson I shared, I think, on the last conversation about how the Chichimecs have their rite of passage into manhood, the men, where they have to get painted in white and go out in the desert, and their best friends get to chase them down and try to kill them.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. You shared that. So, yeah, when I get back, we're going to keep on with this for a while when I get back from Peru. But tonight we're going to talk about the rite of sex, and it's with magic wands and private tools. But yeah, this is probably one of the most important, and it needs to start in way earlier than adulthood.
Okay. And then what's adulthood? That's can be a subjective thing. You've mentioned in a few conversations different biological aspects of when we become adults. You've said that mentioned the age of 20 something when we stopped producing certain hormones, I think.
I don't biologically it's just a continual, it's us that puts this marker on when you become an adult. I mean, it's
we choose, right, at the end of the day.
I mean, if we start understanding that oneness, the first principle, that oneness, we all are formed of the same substance, and this substance, this God substance, is always evolving us toward more complexity. So it's a journey through life. It's not a door but I mean, we need to have rites of passage at these. There are stages where we, from like where we go, say at round 7, we shift into a different gear, so to speak. Our brain opens up. We become more complex because the God substance, the God process is always pushing us to more complexity. So there are stages where we become more and more complex. Our brain function, our right? So this is where we need to really look at bringing different rights than there's no rights in the Western world anyway, period, and the white ideology world. And you don't have to be white skinned to have white ideology. So let's get on with the rite of sex.
Okay.
So women's basic unhappiness, her perennial discontent, is because man can no longer reach her physically. her emotional excess, her depressions, her tearful frustration, even her premenstrual tension, and the conditions that lead to hysterectomy and other uterine problems are due to men's sexual failure to gather or release in lovemaking her finest fundamental female energy. This extraordinary, beautiful, divine energy in women is intense and exquisite, and when left untapped in them, as they are now, they degenerate into psychic or emotional disturbances and eventually crystallize into physical abnormalities. Because the womb gives birth to all things. Man's basic unhappiness, his perennial restlessness, is because in forgetting how to make love, he's abandoned his original divine energy and lost sexual control of himself. His emotional or psychic degeneracy manifests as sex obsession because all men, without exception, are sex obsessed. This means compulsive sexual fantasizing, chronic masturbation, even when living with a partner, sex repression leading to anger and violence, and the universal symptoms of chasing money and things and getting lost in work. Busyness and money gathering compensate for being an inept lover and are cover-ups in both sexes for the inability or fear to love. The inability to love or the fear of love. Mm-hmm. So because of his neglect or of love neglect of women, man suffers from premature ejaculation, guilt, anxiety, self-doubt, impotence, sexual atrophy, masquerading as sexual disinterest, sexual abstinence due to repressed fear of failure, sexual bravado, and lack of true wisdom, all of which he inflicts on women, aggravating her basic discontent and his own restlessness. Mm. No matter how much a woman loves her man and wants to give her love to him, she will not and cannot give up all her divine eros energy if he is not yet himself fully integrated or aligned in love. To be fully integrated, a fully integrated male, a man has to assimilate in his body the divine female energy that woman can only release to him through right physical lovemaking. And the man has to be man enough to love her divinely or selflessly during the act of lovemaking. He has to be able to absorb and express sufficient love in his body to reach the highest part of her and love enough to bring forth the divine energy or eros from her deepest center. To be able to love this way is the male power that man has lost, because it requires pure love. It does not depend on technique. A man may develop his sexual technique, and yet he cannot use expertise to make divine love. Exciting sensations and orgasms are gratifying, but they're not the love that woman craves. He may satisfy her like a good meal, and soon she hungers again and eventually despises her appetite or herself because she knows she's not being truly loved. So for centuries, man has failed to serve love and failed physically to serve woman, who is the personification of love. The penalty for man is woman's tyrannous emotionality. Wherever he loves or tries to love, she will one day shock him, stun him, and devastate him by suddenly revealing herself as the fiendess, the living female demon of emotion. And the fiendess shows herself when he is attached to something else and can't just walk away. A man who has not yet experienced the hatred of a fiendess has not yet experienced love. And the woman who has not yet seen herself being the fiendess has not yet connected with her love. And I have seen myself. I have not just seen myself, I've become the fiendess just in the last few months.
The fiendess. I'm not getting that word, fiendess.
La fiera.
Ah, okay. That's an English translation for that?
Fiendess is like the angry tiger.
Okay. Arr. Oh, wow. First time I hear that word.
And it's kind of, it's a kind of a relief to understand that I'm connected. Now that that has come out. I mean, and it's come out of me before, but I never, the fetus has come out before in different relationships with men, but this time around with this man I'm with, it's like, yeah, now I understand. And it's the fetus is becoming less because I'm connecting with my true essence of love.
Okay.
But if that's not the case, so to man, the fetus of emotion in woman is hell on earth. This is the part of her he cannot handle or understand. And the demon of his own failure to love comes to life to scorn, abuse, and torment him. He's terrified of it. He bluffs and blusters his way through, and finally he grows old in the relationship and gives up for the sake of peace. And the fetus will conquer him and force him to surrender the last vestige of his manliness. And I have no desire to be like that. I don't think it has to be like that. And then they both grow old together, feeling safe and half dead as they lean on each other in the awful world of compromise, or they get divorced. I think it's time for us women to realize this, allow the fetus to come out, and then let it go. Let it hurt. I saw on an Ellen Watts movie on YouTube, the headline was let it hurt, let it heal, and let it go.
Okay.
That's my mantra. Let it hurt, let it heal, and let it go. Can't heal until you let it hurt.
Yeah.
Until you let the fetus come out. So at the beginning of time, when the world had just begun, the state of man and woman was very different. And the earth is not the world. The world is built by humans. The world is formed by humans. It's the same difference as mind and brain. Our mind is not our brain. Right? The world is not the earth. The world is the world we shape with our thoughts and our neural net. On Pachamama. So the world began when humans identified for the first time with physical death. And at this time, the individual bodies of man and woman were permanently surrounded by a magnificent golden orb or halo. Radiating out from the solar plexus, it extended visibly above the head and into the ground beyond the reach, and out to the sides beyond the reach of outstretched arms. The woman's orb was a slightly deeper gold than the man's, and both had the same dazzling, sublime, and beauteous quality. Woman was pure love, flowing, allowing, or denying manifestation, physical form, right? The feminine forming principle forms the magnetic field of attraction. Man was also love, but not quite as pure love in the same sense, as he is the reactive pole, responding, reflecting, and adapting to the energy field created by the feminine. His love was responsible for maintaining the golden divine quality of love between man and woman, and the brilliance of their orbs or halos at any time reflected the intensity and purity of that love. Their physical lovemaking was ecstatic. The divine energy generated was so powerful that after making love, their radiant bodies or halos blazed with splendor. This self-luminous radiance of spirit or love created in each physical union was the manifestation of their Godhead on earth. For men and women at the beginning of time knew they were gods and goddesses, and they sustained the awareness and presence of their Godhead, their timelessness, by making divine physical love. And whenever their halos needed new energy, they would draw together and make love and make God. As the only two conscious physical poles of love on earth, they would illuminate and energize each other. He would regenerate her love and she would restore his love. Communication between them was so complete, there was no need for speech. And speaking developed with time. Speaking developed when they started to forget love and lose themselves in the time given to other things, time to building a world. And so men and women forgot how to be themselves all the time. And as they failed to make divine physical love, their consciousness lost the golden God connection and they had to start talking across the developing gap between them. And in the distance, speech arose with misunderstanding and emotion. And as lovelessness invaded the bodies of man and woman, speech replaced the immediacy and fullness of love. And so instead of being love, they started to declare, I love you. Most men and women completely forgot how to make love, how to be love and make love. Although apparently performing the same physical act, they were unable to release or generate divine energy or personify in themselves a living spirit or presence of love, the timeless. And their bodies were no longer aligned in love. They were aligned in time and emotion. And instead of making pure love, they were making emotional demanding love. And so now instead of producing spiritually enlightened children, they produced emotionally dependent children. Woman was now confused and perennially discontented. Man, having lost his power, was now impatient with her, and in trying to find a substitute for his power, he became perennially busy and restless, and now he uses his superior physical and economic strength to force her into an inferior social position. And this is in general, right? Mm-hmm. A few women and men, however, retain some ability to love divinely within themselves by deliberately not making physical love. These were the mystics, saints, and ascetics. They turned their attention inward to the love and divine energy in their own bodies. By refusing to mate with other bodies, they kept themselves relatively pure, and it was a pale, lopsided purity, measured against the full, rich, original radiance. Denying the earthly need of union with the opposite sex, the saintly alternative was fundamentally exclusive, unnatural, and selfish, despite its lofty devotion and idealism. The truth is that they just didn't love enough. They didn't love their fellow men and women with sufficient golden intensity to dip into the divine mind in their own bodies through intercourse. So basically, we were made to have sex. We were made to have sex for reproduction. We were made to make divine love for love. For the sake of love, pure love, unconditional love, not emotionally demanding love. Love is needed here on earth, and it starts between man and woman. And I'm not anti-gay or lesbian by saying this. I'm just being right. For anyone listening, I'm not just getting that clear. We're just keeping it basic, because the basic poles of love are male and female. Whether it's two females with one being more masculine than the other, we're not getting into that. We're just focusing on the fact that the basic poles of love are masculine and feminine, and everybody has masculine and feminine energy inside them.
Totally.
We cannot opt out of the reality of love on earth and put love in some other place like heaven. It is the lack of love or lack of God, because in making love, we make God, between us that has brought the world today to the brink of annihilation by its own hand. So we start to love by making love, and we must learn how to make love rightly, without self-indulgence, without seeking emotional satisfaction and self-gratification. By learning how to make true physical love and restoring our golden halos, which would be our auras, which science knows is there. They can still, but they've just lost their radiance that makes it visible to everybody. Well, by learning to make true physical love and restoring our auras, we'll find we have discovered how to love our fellow men and how to love the galactic operating dynamic process, God. Right. So the finest expression of love is to have man delight woman sexually. This is he can only do when he can forget his preoccupation with orgasm, and orgasm is not the same. You can be orgasmic and not, what's the word? It's not even ejaculate. What's the word I want? It'll come. And if he can forget his preoccupation with orgasm, with ejaculation, with climax, that's the word, with climax. Mm-hmm. Orgasm and climax are different. And be sufficiently selfless or present in love to collect and receive her divine energy. By teaching her to please him and satisfy him down through the ages, man has taught woman to want him and to project herself sexually to make herself exciting to him. He addicted her to an emotional and physical craving for his sexual attention, and he did this by neglecting to actually love her. The loveless narcotic of sex numbed her, and like all addictions, engendered fear of losing him or his attention, and fear of other women in the form of jealousy and female competition. Woman, in her true natural love state, is not dependent on man. She loves him. And in love, there is no dependence, no attachment, and no fear of losing. She is an irresistible living magnet. The only way to love is to be available to the new right now and here. So if we are going to bring love into our sexual lives, we need new energy. And that energy starts with the ability to be honest to ourselves and life. And the first thing to admit to ourselves is that for the majority, our love life is just not good enough. And the next is to admit that we don't know what to do about the problem, and then to admit that we can't do it alone and we need help. So when we give up, when we truly surrender in humility, the help is always there within us, and then it can appear outside of us. And such honesty and self-knowledge generates passion, the power of love and true commitment in existence. Love has to be allowed to work in us as love will. There is much to unlearn and habits to dismantle. To begin, there are 4 requirements: commitment, absence of emotion, practice, and perseverance. And both partners have to be committed to the greater purpose of restoring divine love on this planet. Some other parts of restoring love, making more love, being and becoming more loving, conscious men and women are: do not be independent. Everything has to be done together and discussed and observed together. So typically in sex, in lovemaking, we're quiet. There might be some sounds, some women are known as screamers, but what we're talking about is constant communication between men and women of what feels good, what's actually good, how is it feeling, how's it, right? Constant.
I actually like that a lot. It's when you like speaking, it turns me on.
Yeah, well, there's in the West, there's in the American culture, there's no long silences. Converse and express in words what you are feeling as a bodily sensation. Say what you actually feel, not what you think. You are supposed to be thinking. You are not supposed to be thinking. You are supposed to be feeling and being vulnerable to love. And this is most important, especially for women. Don't cut yourself off, women, because you've been hurt in the past. Be brave for love. Turn outward, because love will help you. Don't let fear harden you. And don't fall in love. Just be love. Falling in love is closing your eyes, shutting down consciousness, and tripping off into dreamland while you're awake. Always be in love when you are in love. To be in love and to keep love fresh and new requires tremendous awareness, tremendous presence. To be in love this way, your love will not end. Fall in love and your love will end. So the conscious purpose of it is to reduce the emotionality in ourselves. And there's 5 areas of emotionality that undermine our ability to truly make love. And that is doubt, disinclination, overexcitability, defensiveness, and argument. So how do we do this? Well, we agree about when and where to make love and understand that our bodies know how to make love. Keep the sexual temperature down by not lapsing into imagination. And it may feel initially clinical like visiting a doctor at first until we break through our past habits. Do not accuse each other of being emotional, as it will only generate more emotion. If one partner is feeling emotional or not being straight, the other one could ask, well, what are you feeling right now? And is this true right now in this moment?
Mhm.
Always refer to now, not yesterday. And if it gets admitted without argument or justification, the emotion will be dispelled and love will remain. The body doesn't lose the urge to make love. It will always enjoy making love if ourselves, the ego monitor, doesn't get in the way. His job is to please her and delight her, to give to her without exciting himself. Feel your love in your solar plexus, because that's where passion starts before it spills over into the genitals.
Mhm.
He doesn't require an erection to feel passionate and loving or to inhale the spiritual fragrance of her feminine presence. She aims to be the sensation in her body. And when both know that they are able to stay with the pleasure without getting excited, love play can enter them. Gentle firmness is the way of love. As he enters her, he wants to be one with the sensation in his penis. He allows his penis to feel her, to absorb the vaginal energy, and that will inform the penis of what to do. So we're switching from sexual excitement to actually love as the guiding power, and we must have faith in it. Love in women is not projective. It is a still, sweet, natural, flowing motion. His consciousness is on the action of love, not the possible end result of orgasm or climax. The orgasm comes when it comes, naturally.
Mhm.
Only emotional tension makes the vagina resistant or not ready for love. An emotion is the living substance of the past, what you believed in and what you were in the past. The substance of every past sexual emotion, both the excitation and the pain, accumulates in our genitals and gets lodged there. Every vagina, until loved rightly, is an emotional vagina, relatively stiff, expectant, self-guarding, and narrowly receptive. A vagina used by many emotional men starts to react like the emotional penis. It becomes hard, greedy, and predatory and concentrates on orgasm. The vagina freed of emotion becomes yielding, soft, giving, simple, easy, undemanding, and still. The vagina is essentially passive and innocent as the organ of love. It learns all its bad habits from the male, and we're not male bashing here. This is just how we've been taught through the centuries. The penis is the teacher of the vagina. At birth, the female psyche is love, innocent and open. During a girl's early years, she's absorbing every influence of love and sex in the family and the wider world. Every girl, as she grows up, psychically absorbs some of the sexuality and sexual frustration of her fathers, her brothers, and her other male relatives, boyfriends, and then the male-dominated media and society around her. So later, after puberty, the vagina's emotional potential is actualized, and every girl falls into the normal and predictable rhythms of romantic love. Romantic love nourishes her psyche, and she falls into romantic sexual imaginings and daydreaming, the reciprocal of which is fear. So even before the penis touches her, then the virgin vagina is tense with emotional fantasies, excitement, and immature sexual experience. And the first time she's penetrated, the pain may keep her momentarily in the present, but she will soon dream off into the past, into emotion and fantasy. And it is the ignorance of true love in the world that maintains this basic tension in all girls and in every virgin vagina. So what's the difference between romantic love and true love? Well, romantic love is self-centered, and true love is other-centered. When we're caught up in romantic feelings, our thoughts naturally revolve around ourselves, what we want, what we need, and how someone makes us feel. Genuine true love operates from a completely different place. It shifts our focus outward, making us genuinely care about the other person's well-being and happiness. And it guides us to ask questions like, what can I do to make their life better, rather than dwelling on what they can do for us. And once, one time in the human race were very young, every virgin girl understood love because she was loved. There was no ignorance of love in her consciousness, as there was no emotion in her vagina. Her lack of physical experience did not cause tension because she understood love before she made it. Now the virgin no longer understands love or herself, and there are no real teachers able to instruct her before wrong impressions are unformed in her by unhappy sexual experiences. And there is no society loving enough to permit this fundamental education. There were, in the indigenous societies, there were men that their job was to teach girls divine lovemaking, and there were women and that's how it was in the Canaanites before the Roman invasion. Right. But since then, there has literally been no society loving enough to permit true sexual education. By trying to repeat a good sexual experience, like coming, you make yourself expectant or emotional. And by trying to avoid the repetition of a bad experience, you make yourself emotionally wary and cautious. And in neither of these conditions can you make true love. And the penis is really only happy when erected inside the vaginal profundity of women. Erected in the emptiness of space outside the vagina, the penis is impatient, excitable, and emotional. An emotional penis becomes erect to gratify itself and doesn't need love then to have sex. When a penis is responsive to love and not emotion, it becomes fully erect only inside the vagina or just before entering it. And only the penis and the vagina together can make love. All emotion in women is the demand or the cry to be truly loved, not used as a sexual spittoon. Love is woman's true nature underneath all the emotion, notions, and hang-ups. And if she loves him, or if she just loves, she can bear sexual disappointment. Women at every level represents the mother, the true archetypal female, Mother Earth, in which all of us delight and find our pleasure. Man is like child to the boundless love and true women, which every woman underneath her unhappiness knows herself to be. For woman, the fulfillment of her love is to take him into her, to receive everything he can give and everything he is, while in return offering up every bit of herself in sweet, complete surrender to love. Her basic need is to give up her finest female energy to her lover, to express her intrinsic female beauty, the divine fragrance which builds up continuously in every woman and which is behind every man's need of her. Selfish sexual man normally uses the act of love to ejaculate, to release his pent-up psychic aggression. And in his so-called lovemaking, he habitually uses woman for his own sexual gratification. So men, and this is just general, we're not pointing fingers, right? Man must learn to make love without being selfishly sexual. As he learns to love or enjoy a woman without needing to orgasm, to release his sexuality, he starts to love her rightly. He delights her and delights in her rather than aiming to excite her and himself. Once again, when men and women, when time in the world were very young, men and women made love like gods. It was a great privilege to be present in a body on earth. Men did not necessarily ejaculate in lovemaking, but only occasionally, and the moment was determined by the divine intelligence, love itself, with which he was united. Men and women today can enter the consciousness of love, which lies behind the part of the brain that controls this the genitals. And this can be done through right loving, by using the feeling in the vagina or penis by not trying to stay aloof or hold on to a separate identity. Then the two poles of love on earth, the masculine and the feminine, are united in magical consciousness, the divine presence of their mutual Godhead. There's two different energies of love, one in the upper body and one in the lower. The upper body vibrates with a very fine love energy, felt particularly in the solar plexus of men and in the women in women in the breasts. This is the finest and sweetest of women's psychic energies of love, and the kissing of her breasts and nipples is extremely important. And they require a very gentle and loving physical approach by man, because the love in her breasts gives milk to the child and holds to its bosom without taint of sexuality her lover. And it can be felt as a longing for the unattainable, yearning for ideal beauty. It's the impulse behind the idea of platonic love. This is the upper pole of love. The lower pole is below the waist and focused in the genitals. The energy of it is continually present in the lower back, the base of the spine, the thighs, and the legs. And if you're very still, you can eventually locate the distinct feeling of this energy. It's more grainy, it's more tangible. This energy rises out of Mother Earth herself, and it's pure vitality or life force before emotion as sexuality or sentiment enters in it. And there are very few men and women whose body above the waist is integrated with the body below the waist. The function of the man or masculine principle is to unify these two poles of love in women. And although there is the same lack of integration in him, he only has to focus on loving and delighting his partner, and everything else will flow from that, including the resolution of his own sexual disharmony and frustration. When woman's whole system flows freely, she is fulfilled with divine love. For this union of the upper and lower in the body, the ideal and the earthy, the unattainable and the attainable, produces the single current of divine love, which is a radiant golden energy. And when this is fully achieved, women are reunited with the original woman, psychically, psychologically, and spiritually. Her discontent vanishes, and she is no longer dependent on any external activity for a sense of fulfillment or purpose. That doesn't mean she just gets lazy. No, she'll still be engaged in life. She's no longer attached to her pursuit as a need. She does it because she loves it. Women's sexual motivation is to make this divine connection through man. Orgasm is a big part of lovemaking. Unfortunately, all too often, orgasm is an emotional end, and true lovemaking has no end. True lovers can go on and on making love until finally, perhaps hours later, the man ejaculates naturally and consciously, or they pull apart and make love hours later, or the next day, or the next day, or the next day, without the man necessarily having to come. Before the troublesome emotions of the self are dissolved, physical intercourse stirs deep emotions of self-doubt. And we need to know this and make this part of the spiritual process of facing ourselves in order to know ourselves. Orgasm is well and truly beneath the moment-to-moment beauty and purpose of lovemaking, and it will happen rightly for both without producing emotional trauma afterwards if we're present enough to concern ourselves with only making love and not sexual excitement. We cannot be aware of the sensation of love if we're chasing an orgasm or trying to delay one. When woman refuses to have a greedy penis inside of her and is pure and present herself in lovemaking with not one thought in her head, the orgasm can come naturally and effortlessly. It just happens beautifully through the power of the loving penis deep inside her. For man and woman to make love beautifully and divinely requires a fundamental change in the penis and vagina, or more specifically in the part of the brain that controls them. And the penis and vagina can both be liberated from the emotion and unconsciousness of the past, from all the habits and misconceptions gained through attachment to past experience. Our bodies don't have to learn how to make
Well, you paused all of a sudden. You're just paused. I don't know if you can hear me. You still here? Here it says that we're still live, and you just froze. Uh-oh. Well, looks like something happened with Blue Hair Woman's transmission with her phone, with her tablet, and yep, she's out. So let's see if I can get her back in. And so she can finish this because it was quite interesting. So let's give it a little bit, 1 minute, if you're watching this. And yeah, so she says that her screen went black, and we'll see if she can go back in. Oh, there you go. Okay, so what happened there? So
I don't know.
your screen went black? Your whole
Yeah, yeah, both of us went black. I went black first and then you did.
Oh wow. Yeah, here you like froze all of a sudden. That's oh. Okay, but it says we're still live. God knows what happened, but so if you got to finish this. It's okay.
Yeah, so our attachment to past experience gets in the way of making love. So we can't protect ourselves and make love. We need to learn how to make love for love and not for ourselves. The purpose of lovemaking is to be present together in conscious physical union as man and woman. And again, I'm just being basic here. It can be woman and woman, man and man. Our normal lovemaking tends to be self-oriented, self-indulgent, and self-gratifying while being dream worlds apart. In effect, we have borrowed the other's vagina or penis to make love to our own emotions, our own past. That's pretty profound.
Mm-hmm.
In this way, more emotion is being made than love, and emotion is invariably isolating. And such love making pushes the lovers apart. The vast majority of us don't look for the joy that is naturally available in divine and selfless love. When the penis and vagina become free of emotion, they can make ecstatic love. And the sensation and perception is so heightened, it seems that at first there's a possibility of losing consciousness because the pleasure is almost unendurable. And as the process continues, the awareness of being completely present as the consciousness of divine love being made gets better and better, and there's no limit to the expanse of being and joy and the immediacy of the spirit that is known in the union then. It is being in the divine presence, a union of each other, and because it is love alone that is being made and not emotion or imagination, and as love has no end, the same rapturous physical and spiritual delight is present in all subsequent lovemaking. It never gets old.
Mm-hmm.
If love is God, if love is our own Godhead or the excellence of life, then the penis and the vagina are the means of that excellence. To make love properly, man has to learn to be his penis during the act, to surrender to its greater intelligence instead of forcing his inferior sex-obsessed mentality upon it. The penis is the finest perceptive organ and instrument in the male body. It has a consciousness and awareness of its own. It's the positive, active organ of love on earth. The vaginal cavity represents the emptiness in woman, her eternal longing to be filled with love. In love play and lovemaking, there's no looking forward to an orgasm or the end. It's a continuum of moment-to-moment pleasure of being that has no future and certainly no past reference. Two things operate in the interaction of men and women: the reality of the body and the unreality of the emotional self. Due to the sexual bias of society today, most women and men are so possessed by their emotions that they never make a real connection with the actual sensation of the body. In foreplay, people excite their self or emotions, and this selfish excitement is actually not sensory, so it's not actual. It's stirring up of past emotional experience and anticipation. There is no excitement or anticipation of future in the body. The body is stimulated by the presence of love, but that stimulation doesn't have excitement in it. In right lovemaking, when orgasm occurs, it's really not exciting. It's just pure sensory intensity without emotion. Love made has a very profound function. It actually reduces the excitement in the subconscious self. Consciousness is the power to register what's happening through the senses or body without using past experience to interpret it. This means that love starts to disappear as a feeling and is replaced by the direct sensation or knowledge of pleasure, a very rare state indeed. And the way most of us are today, the sensory pleasure is interpreted through the past and is therefore not conscious or immediate. Consciousness converts the physical act into something profound and spiritually meaningful. And that's where we stop for tonight. There's lots more on this subject.
Wow, it's everything I was expecting. I was hoping for when you first started talking about the rites of passage. I'm like, so this is going to be about that, but no, it really did touch on the things we need to hear about. I'm wondering if we don't get it flagged or banned or something because these mediums. If you say penis, it'll censor you. I don't know. Let's hope
Yeah.
not. That's why we're on Rumble mostly, but this is still on YouTube. But we'll see what YouTube does.
Yeah.
If it catches up on it catches, because I see a lot of YouTubers avoiding those words, or if they do use those words, I think it's more with the text where they have to use like another character so to deceive the. So it's everything that we really need to hear, and just ask yourself, why is these kind of things censored still today?
Yeah.
On media? It's because we're still in this constricted mindset that has permeated every single thing in our civilization, and we're here to build the new civilization. That's what we're doing, and that's what we need to cover these subjects, and I'm glad that we're going to continue doing so. But not next week, because we're going to be talking, maybe doing maybe you'll do a coca leaf chew or something from Cusco, from Cusco. You'll make people there in love if you tell them that if you say the name, like the Andean name is Cusco.
Cusco. Okay.
Cusco.
Cusco.
And it means belly button.
Okay.
Yeah, like center. Amazing place. Hope you can go to Ollantaytambo and Sacsayhuaman and all those places. There's just so many places.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and the week after that, I'll be able to report on having been to Lake Titicaca.
Oh wow! So yeah, that's gonna be exciting. I'm gonna be a little bit jealous. Such a lovely place. I'm actually investigating a little bit about things around Lake Titicaca. I just found this Bolivian YouTuber. It's so fun because I mean, for me, it's really fun to see how things that are still not written in books, that still have not been researched. This guy is already like recording it. Like they went into this cave with hundreds of mummies, of ancient mummies, hundreds of them. And nobody's ever, I mean, the archaeologists haven't or the state hasn't sponsored any serious research on that. So so much stuff. It's a really magical place. You're gonna really, really, really like that. Really ancient. I think it connects everyone. That part of the land connects us with, even though the geologically the Andes are, I mean, they're kind of old, but they're not the oldest type of geological formation that is exposed. It kind of still connects us with the oldest times in humanity. For some reason, it has that energy.
Yeah.
It has that vibe. You're gonna love it, and you're gonna share it with us once you're there. You're gonna be streaming live from that place, and so everyone's invited to join us in that next week at the. So, do we change the time for next week?
I know. We'll just keep it.
A nice clean 7 for Mexico, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. That's going to be 8 o'clock Peruvian time. And we're going to see you there. So please follow us, aloha.ainidao.living.com, if you want to learn more, if you want to join this project of human liberation and construction of the new. See you there. Bye now.